Now we come to the last of the second chance heats this weekend. Senior Max is the only category that has done so this weekend. So they have been released already. We're about 8 or 9 minutes behind schedule, obviously with the timekeeping issue we had earlier on. But your grid is as follows. On pole position will be Ben Donkin in the 3-4-8. Vincent van Kerkhoffen in second. Victor Plateau, Endo Shogo from Japan, Yash Ramjankan, Patrick Rundqvist, Emily de Hoys, Max Stemmerdink, Josh Powell, Ehad Turka, Zen Rudenberg, Oscar Hall and Georgios Beresis are the only 13 drivers, as Madsris and Tim Mika Metz did not make it to the pre-grid in time, having been given multiple instructions to make their way there. So we'll have 13 drivers battling over the last 8 positions for the final this afternoon, which concludes the action for the 2019 season. So, on the clock we have 7 minutes plus 1 lap. They're now going to go on to the formation lap here at Sunday Genk. So, Donkin, Van Kerkhoffen, Plateau, Shogo. Reese apparently would have started up at this front end of the field, but it's now going to be Yash Ramjankan and Emily de Hoys that will occupy 5th and 6th position ahead of Patrick Rundqvist and Josh Powell. Max Stemmerdink, Ehad Turka, Zen Rudenberg, Oscar Hall and Georgios Beresis from Greece. As they're going to have to, now there's one driver looking at languishing a little bit out of the back part of the field. They may just put it into the pits, I'm not too sure, but definitely a long way behind, because if they're not all in formation, they're having to concertina up very quickly now on the exit of turn number 9, as that driver that's on the back straight really needs to get a wriggle on and decides to take the cut through. Good initiative thinking there, I must be completely honest. But decided to do the cut through to catch up with the rest of the grid. I've never seen that before on a formation lap, but obviously someone wanted to take a shortcut. And that looks to be the 380, well, I'm not too sure if it was Oscar Hall or whoever that was, but couldn't really catch it out of my line of sight. So, the penultimate race of the Senior Max class this weekend, 13 drivers ready to go into battle for 8 positions on the top 36 final. Here we go. Revs start to build. They rise heavily as the throttles are punched down hard, and we go lights out. Heading into turns 1 and 2, and it's 3 abreast around. Now there's someone being very audacious up into the middle of turn number 2, and that person has just taken the lead. That's an absolutely brilliant move there. But it's all falling apart for the rest of them just behind. So there was a very, very distinct maneuver there from somebody. I'm not too sure who that might have been. I'm wondering if that might have been someone like that wouldn't have been, might have been Endo Shogot, might have been, not too sure. But I'll find out very, very shortly. It doesn't look to be the case that it is the Japanese driver, because he's running on a different chassis. However, we'll find out very soon as they come through turn 8 for the first time of asking, and we've had a spinner at the back part of the field. So someone definitely on the back foot has to really get back up to racing speed pretty quickly. And we've got around about 6 minutes and 5 to go, plus an additional lap, as there is definitely, looks to be Vincent van Kerkhoffen in second, but the driver that's going to come out of turn 11 first is the 367. Yash Ramjankan was an absolute opportunist, right in the middle of everybody going through. And Yash actually started from 5th position on the grid and just went into the middle as soon as the light went out and thought, right, I'm going to have a go here, and nailed it by the end of turn 3. So, Yash Ramjankan, Plateau, Donkin, Van Kerkhoffen, Endo Shogo, Emily de Hoys up into 6th. At the minute, it looks to be Josh Powell that's dropped down to the back of the order. Rundqvist and Ehad Turka ran out the top 8. So those are the ones that are battling away for the final positions on the last race of the season. which will be the top 36 final for seniors. And there's a great battle for what is effectively for 5th place between 3 respective drivers. That could be the likes of Sjogård, De Hoys and Rundqvist that are battling over that position. And in the middle of that is De Hoys, or probably not for much longer. No, one to the outside, one to the inside, and up the inside goes Patrick Rundqvist. Now with the top 8, their positions, where they finish in this race, will dictate where they end up in the final a little bit later on today. So, Ramjankan continues to lead. Plateau in second. Looks like Ben Donkin in third. And Sjogård has got past Vincent van Kerkhoven for position. He might have just lost out another place, and that could have been from Patrick Rundqvist. Up into 5th goes the Swede, which he does. And then you've got Emily De Hoys. And then in the last of the 8 positions at the moment is Ehad Turka, who's falling a little bit adrift, but has got distance between himself and Sven Rudenberg from the Netherlands. So Ramjankan now moving away and pulling away by quite a considerable margin, up to 1.3 seconds over Victor Plateau. As the field now makes its way, well, the majority of it, the top 7 or 8 drivers have made their way through. Emily De Hoys looks to have kept Ehad Turka at bay for what is 7th position on the road there. But there's more positional changes. Changes now for what is 3rd place. So Sjogård has been passed. It could be, that could be Patrick Rundqvist that's just got up the order a little bit more now, as the Swede. In the 358, now up into 3rd, past Endor Sjogård. Ben Donkin now down into what looks to be around about 5th place, as Yashram Jankan has gone streaking away a little bit now, up into nearly 1.5 seconds, as Emily De Hoys has been passed by Ehad Turka for 7th. So De Hoys is now in the drop zone, so to speak, the driver that's really got to watch out now, because Sven Rudenberg is not that far behind. Oscar Hall in 10th, Max Stemmerdink, Georgios Bersis and Josh Powell round out the 13 that are still circulating around the 1,360 metre circuit here at Sunday Genk. But Ramjankan definitely making sure that he's getting away, as Patrick Rundqvist is trying to slingshot past Victor Plateau into 2nd and makes the move even before turn 7. Nice work from the driver from KR Sport in the 358 representing Sweden. So Ehad Turka takes a tighter line going into turn number 8, and that nearly catches the Turkish driver out as Emily De Hoys was trying to cut through, but Turka trying to get up another place there. That's allowing Emily De Hoys to close up, and that's on Vincent van Kerkhoven. So Van Kerkhoven right in the rooster tails of Ehad Turka going through into turn number 10. So 367 still leads, 350, 358. So it's still Ramjankan, now Rundqvist, Plateau, now being not so much bullied but pressurised by Endor Sjogård from Japan, who's going to go up the inside and try and banzai his way through and makes the move, as Rundqvist is now challenging for the lead. As Sjogård gets a bit tail happy, trying to put the power down, going into turn 3 whilst applying the brakes. So the Japanese driver got himself out of a bit of trouble there and managed to keep himself in 4th position. Ben Donkin, Ehad Turka, Emily De Hoys. Vincent van Kerkhoven is now in danger of losing 8th position if he's not careful. And about 0.3 of a second back is Sven Rudenberg and Max Stemmerdink. And that's probably about a 0.5 of a second gap. So, quick handshake there with Martin van der Stoys. Thanks for popping up and seeing me. I haven't met the guy yet, so good to get a nice firm handshake there. As Patrick Rundqvist is in the lead of the race now. The Swede has now got to fend off Ramjankan for the top position. So the Swede that started on 7th now hits the front of the field. And we have 45 seconds plus an additional lap to go. As Ben Donkin closing on the back bumper of the Japanese driver known as Endor Sjogård in the 343. And then just behind them, you've got Ehad Turka and Emily De Hoys line astern. Vincent van Kerkhoven trying to keep in proximity, trying to make sure that he stays in the top 8, because there is a bit of an expansive gap now between him and Sven Rudenberg. That is over 1.1 seconds. as then Erhard Turker gets pounced on up the inside by Emily de Hoys. Van Kerkhoven just behind the Turkish driver. So that's the battle for 7th and 8th as Emily de Hoys now puts herself in 6th position. And we have around about sort of a few seconds left of this race remaining. Not that long to go now. But that's it, time's up. This is the penultimate lap, and now Patrick Rundqvist is sprinting away despite the torrid wet weather conditions we're having here in the Limburg region ahead of Yasharam Jankan. Victor Plateau still staying resolute in 3rd place. Endo Shogo still in 4th, ahead of Ben Donkin from the United Kingdom. Then it is Emily de Hoys, Erhard Turker and Vincent van Kerkhoven, who, if he isn't careful, has then Rudenberg trying to chase him down at last place. But as we saw yesterday, with penalties being issued post-race, the order could change. I've had that happen yesterday. Who's not to say it could happen again? As we get the final lap board handed to Patrick Rundqvist on a silver platter. That's the sign the Swede needed as he goes into turn 2 for the final time. Ramjankan now in 2nd. Plateau in 3rd place. 4th it's Shogo. Donkin. De Hoys still ahead of Turker in 6th position. Van Kerkhoven really has got to watch it now. He's only got a few corners left and could try and get past Erhard Turker in the dying stages of this race as the leader now blasts his way down into turn number 7. So Rundqvist gets a nice clean gap between himself and Yash Ramjankan for the lead, and now what is effectively going to be the victory, provisionally speaking, of this race. All results are called provisionally pending any post-race technical and sporting checks. It looks like the top 8 will remain as they are for the moment until we get official confirmation of the results. But through turn number 11 comes the flying Swede known as Patrick Rundqvist from 7th on the grid to be in the lead, and the checkered flag is going to wave for KR Sports Patrick Rundqvist, who powers out of the final corner and makes the quick dash to the start-finish line and secures his place in the top 36 final ahead of Yasharam Jankan from the Netherlands. Victor Plateau in 3rd. Endo Shogo, Ben Donkin, Emily de Hoys, Erhard Turker, and a very, very lucky Vincent van Kerkhoven round out the top 8 in that particular encounter. Zen Rudenberg, Max Demerdink, Josh Powell, Oscar Hall, and Georgios Bersis' weekend have now come to an end here at Karting Genk. But Patrick Rundqvist, by over 2.7 seconds, wins the second chance Senior Max Heat here at Karting Genk.